Today, we're diving into a place a lot of us think we know, the North American Great Lakes. But what if I told you these aren't just big lakes? What if they're actually something way more powerful, economically massive, and honestly, dangerously unpredictable? I know, it sounds like a tagline for a disaster movie, right? But seriously, this question is the key to understanding the almost unbelievable scale of what we're dealing with. We are talking about a volume of water so huge, it's hard to even wrap your head around. 6 quadrillion gallons. That is the 6 followed by 15 zeros. It's just an insane amount of water. To put that in perspective, this one lake system holds more than 20% of all the available fresh water on the surface of the entire planet. And this is what 6 quadrillion gallons actually looks like. Imagine it, from California to New York, from Florida to Washington State, the entire country, everything submerged. See, this isn't just a bunch of lakes, it's a freshwater ocean, hiding right in the middle of a continent. Okay, so here's how we're gonna break this down. We'll start with why it's an ocean in disguise, then look at how it's a violent weather engine. After that, we'll see how it became an engineered superhighway for commerce, explore its role as an economic powerhouse, and finally, why it's North America's most vital resource. So first up, let's really get a grip on the sheer dominance of the system. I mean, it's so massive, it fundamentally shapes the continent around it. This chart says it all, really. When you're talking about surface freshwater in North America, the Great Lakes aren't just a big piece of the pie. They pretty much are the pie. A staggering 84% of the continent's entire supply is right here. And the undisputed king of the whole system is Lake Superior. This thing is an absolute giant. You could literally take all the water from Lakes Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario, dump it all into Superior's basin, and it still wouldn't even be full. Its deep, cold waters act way more like a turbulent inland sea than any lake you've ever imagined. You know, as ancient as they feel, the lakes are actually pretty young, geologically speaking. They were literally born from the last ice age. Picture this, a glacier, 2 miles thick in some places, acting like a continental bulldozer, just scraping and gouging these massive holes in the ground. And when it finally melted, all that meltwater filled in those holes, creating the freshwater seas we have today. But all that water isn't just sitting there. No, its immense size means it's also about creating weather, and sometimes unleashing just incredible, untamed power. Yep, the lakes are basically giant weather engines. See, water holds its heat way longer than land does, so when that freezing Arctic air sweeps down from Canada, it hits that relatively warm lake water, soaks up a ton of moisture like a sponge, and then just dumps it as feet and feet of snow. That's why a city like Buffalo can get absolutely buried, while the town just a few miles away might see blue skies. And that power isn't just about snow. Forget everything you think you know about a relaxing day at the lake. The sheer size of these things lets storms build with terrifying speed. And the waves? They're not like ocean waves. They're steeper and closer together, which just relentlessly batter ships. This is a true inland sea. And the result of all that violent, unpredictable weather? An underwater graveyard. Seriously, historians estimate that somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 shipwrecks lie at the bottom of these lakes, a silent testament to just how unforgiving they are. Of course, the most famous tragedy that flows from west to east. Think of it like a continental staircase, with the biggest, most dramatic step being that massive plunge over Niagara Falls. So to navigate that staircase, humans pulled off some of the most incredible engineering projects in history. I mean, they built the Erie Canal to get around the Appalachian Mountains. They literally reversed the flow of the Chicago River to keep the city's drinking water clean. And they built this massive system of locks and seaways, basically a boat elevator, so that huge ocean-going ships can sail right into the heart of the continent. And all of that incredible engineering, well, it unlocked an unimaginable amount of wealth. It turned this entire region into a global economic titan that basically drives the economies of 2 whole countries. This resource supports a massive population. We're talking about 60 million people living in the Great Lakes Basin, on both the US and Canadian sides. That's almost a fifth of the entire American population, and more than a quarter of Canada's, all clustered around these shores. The scale of the economy here is just staggering. Get this, if the Great Lakes region were its own country, its $6 trillion GDP would make it one of the largest economies on Earth. We're talking bigger than industrial powerhouses like Japan and Germany. It's wild. But okay, beyond all the ships and all the industry, the lakes serve their most fundamental purpose. They sustain human life. This is the continent's freshwater bank, and let me tell you, it's facing some very modern threats. More than 30 million people in the United States and Canada depend on the Great Lakes for their drinking water.
It is, quite literally, the lifeblood for tens of millions of us. But this amazing resource isn't invincible. Not at all. It's under constant pressure. You've got agricultural runoff that causes these toxic algae blooms. You've got pollution from a century of industry just sitting there. And you have invasive species like zebra mussels that completely wreck the food web. Protecting this system requires constant, complicated cooperation between two countries. It's a huge challenge. When you boil it all down, there is no other single geographic feature more important to North America. The Great Lakes are the continent's freshwater savings account, and because of that, they've become one of the most culturally and economically powerful regions on the planet.